chances to write for the national press. I got nasty comments from people who said, well, they're only giving you a voice because you're black and a woman, not because anything that you say is relevantly important. But I think, you know, as a woman and as an activist and as a black woman, people generally think that you're fair game for bullying. And in my third year, it was horrendous. But I think that it's really important that you shouldn't back down. So what I decided to do as women's officer, being sort of ridiculed in the union sometimes and things like that, and also like my writing in the paper, getting general like good feedback, but then also the nasty comments, and also trying to create change in my union, I just kept coming up against barriers from the Sabs who didn't believe or weren't interested in what I was saying. So I decided to run for president. I was the complete outsider of the people who were running. Like my union's generally like sportos run for election. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but coming from quite a political background, I was a complete outsider. But I decided to run for president for a number of reasons. The largest one being higher education cuts and restricting tuition fees. But one of the other biggest reasons was that I just knew that women's issues weren't being taken seriously, and things came to a head on the eve of our election results nights, actually, which interestingly coincided with a Playboy body night out at our students' union that the events department had decided to organise. So by this point, because I knew I was quite the outsider, I was just like, do you know what, forget it. If I'm going out, I'm going out in style. So I decided to organise a protest where all the men that I knew dressed up in really skimpy clothes and like bunny ears, and all the women put on like Hugh Hefner style like dressing gowns and like slippers and things like that, and we all just went in and just like had a great time. I think it riled the student union's like events department a bit, but I think that it made a point. And so when I was pleasantly surprised and elected as president, I think it also set a precedent, not president as in president, but you know, the other meaning of the word, in that the events department knew that, okay, this girl's president of our union, we're not going to do that again, because she's going to create a fuss on Facebook. So, you know, people tell us that there's no need for feminism anymore, especially not on our campuses. But I honestly believe that university and campus culture is a microcosm of the society that we live in. So everything that you see in the wider society in terms of feminism is just generally reflected almost 10 times as larger in the sort of like campus culture. And you think about places like halls of residence where sexual assaults are rife. Actually what you're seeing is a concentrated sort of version of the society we live in. I remember writing a column for our student union paper about lads' maths and talking about objectification.
Unions, and across the UK, 79% of student union presidents are men, and that's a worse figure this year than last year. And I think 2 years ago it reached a record high of 25% women presidents, which is still appalling. So it's no wonder we're sort of stuck in this cycle where women aren't running for these positions, and when they are facing really horrific sexism. I do think it's worth mentioning as on the panel, Bernie's the only black woman president of the HE Student Union. She's the first black woman president to be president of HE Student Union in 3 years, and I think that's one of the most disgusting statistics actually I've ever heard. And I think time and time again we're saying, well, maybe people aren't good enough, but I'm not going to be told any of the women on this panel aren't good enough to be leaders in the student movement. So I think they've been absolutely exceptional, and they've shown that today. I just want to open it up to the floor, so I don't know if people have sort of questions.